emphasize that. To your point, futures trading, the question, futures are exchange-traded products. I'm not going to get into the complexity of everything, but they cover everything from stock indices to oil, gold, currencies, meats, grains, and everything else. Every product is standardized. It has its own hours. It has its own delivery time. It has its own operations. But again, what's common to all of them, just to keep it short, and not going into too much detail, is that they're all exchange-traded products. So you basically, when you place your order, it goes to an exchange, and literally you exchange an idea with somebody. So it's not only an exchange from a perspective of exchange regulatory, but exchange like you think that there's long and there's somebody that is short, and they basically, put trades and they trade against each other.
So everybody gets matched up. So I guess when someone goes to put a futures trade in there or an options, I guess futures and options are different. So a futures trade is someone's looking to see something in the future, and they're either betting it's going to go up or it's going to go down.
Well, the reason that it's called futures is because it's reflecting future prices. All prices fluctuate. At the end of the day, every financial instrument, you're betting on the direction of the instrument. Options are a little bit different, but futures, you're just betting on the direction. So futures, for example, you have different months that might reflect different deliveries. So you can trade June of this year or June of next year. Of course, the liquidity will be different in that month, but essentially you're betting on the prices to go up or down. Every instrument you can go long or short. It's the same margin for long and short, just like OTC products. I think CFD and forex work that way. You have long and short. And basically, that's it. It's just the exchange is I think the exchange itself is really the distinguishing factor for regulated futures market.
Why do you think the exchange is the distinguishing factor?
Because I think that, it just mechanically, I believe that OTC products have their own market makers, their own banks, their own everything. So different brokers work with different suppliers. We have one exchange for each product. So, for example, if somebody wants to trade the micro mini S&P, they go through the CME. If they want to trade the if they want to trade, for example, the German DAX, they go through the Eurex. So if you're asking me if the exchange makes a difference in terms of between OTC and everything else, it makes a difference because it's a regulated body. So they have to operate in a certain way for the player to be fair to the player, speculator, hedger, or anything else. So they also have their own rules that they have to obey by, that they have a certain level of obligation towards, the players in the marketplace. So that's, I think it helps. At least, here it does.
What about like Robinhood? That you can do everything with Robinhood, but so I guess same with interactive brokers. You can do the same with trade futures, options. You got everything with each of those.
Listen, I hope one day to get into the equities market because everybody's getting into the equities market. So it's not a market that I want to miss. But, I've listened to the hearing, that they had about Robinhood, when all this GME thing started. And apparently, and I could be wrong, but the market, you do not have to go through the exchange when you buy stocks. I think stock options have to be traded through an exchange, but you have certain market makers, I believe, that in the equities market can act as a counterparty. That was my understanding, at least, right? So I don't know specifically, again, about equities. I would tell you in the futures market, it has to go through an exchange. Right, I cannot go to a separate supplier outside the exchange and do an E-mini S&P. It's a registered trademark. The name is there, and exchanges own the name for that product, right? So that makes a difference. All those variables, I think, make a difference for the player.
Got it. So I can only get my George Foreman through, an authorized dealer.
Yeah,
kind of.
I guess.
Only seen on TV, as seen on TV, right?
Exactly. I mean, the exchange does have competition once in a while. People try to come up, with different products and similar products. But, the CME is such an established, exchange, and it's been around forever. And, there used to be 4 different exchanges, right? There used to be the CME, CBOT, NYMEX, COMEX. Now it's all under the CME group. So that's basically, and so competing exchanges that come up here and there with products, it's very hard for them to compete with that body. I've seen people come up with other products that they try to, but the liquidity is just not there. The CME gets the majority of the business in the United States.